Alright, hello guys, this is Haljackey here. I just wanted to do a local recording here. This isn't from Twitch or anything, any kind of stream. Just to give you my impression of SimCity 2013. A lot of people have asked me, what I think about the game, how I would rate the game, what my thoughts of the game are, and it's taken me a little while to come up with this review, but I wanted to make sure that, I knew everything that I possibly need to know before I could make, my own review of the game, because if I was to make it before the game came out publicly, my review would probably be much different than what it is now with all the server problems and stuff. So a little bit about me. I've been playing SimCity since I was a little kid. I first started off with it on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and I really loved that game. It was a lot of fun. It kind of combined Mario and Bowser and stuff into it. I didn't play too much of the original. I think it was in my elementary school computer labs, but basically my experience playing the first version of the game was on the Super Nintendo. And the only thing that I really didn't like about it was just that the choices of maps. Like when you were picking the maps, you had like 1,000 different choices, and you had to circle through them one by one. So you had to basically sit there, and it took, what was it, about 20-30 seconds for each map to come up. So if you wanted to circle through all the maps, you had to wait 20 seconds times 1,000 just to see them all, and then make your pick based on that. And then we were moving into SimCity 2000 in the mid '90s. I remember this was probably the first game that I pre-ordered. And yes, you could pre-order games back then, and it cost around $90. And that was in what, mid '90s money? So if you think $60 is bad now, think about $90 back then. And I really liked SimCity 2000. It was definitely a big step up. Just kind of had a futuristic feel to me, having the arcologies and the giant monsters coming down and destroy stuff, and just some of the buildings too, like the fusion reactor and microwave plant, and even just the like the airports and stuff. It looked very futuristic, even though the game I think first started off in the 1900s. No, the year 1900 I think it started off in. So I really liked that, and terraforming came in, and I think it was the only game you could build dams and waterfalls and stuff, so I kind of miss that in future games. SimCity 3000 came. I have to say, standalone, without any kind of expansions or third-party content or whatever, SimCity 3000 is probably my favorite game in the series. And that probably goes against a lot of stuff that, you've seen from me from SimCity 4, but again, I'm just comparing, out of the box. And SimCity 3000 just basically nailed it. They got everything right, and at least in my opinion. It was fun to play. It was a good way to, learn how to balance a budget, keep your Sims happy, grow, and you had basic neighbor functionality too, like you could buy and sell water from like your neighbor, even though you did not control that. So, again, 3000 is definitely the game. When people ask me, what I'm new to SimCity, any tips for me, or what should I start playing? I always recommend trying out with SimCity 3000. And then by the time SimCity 4 came along, again, I was very, very impressed with the region view and being able to create like your own region, like raise mountains and stuff, and that didn't cost any money because God mode was free. And I shouldn't really imply was, because SimCity 4 is still around. It's not like in the past, but I'm just comparing it, to the release date, like back in 2003, and you can refer to that into the past tense. But SimCity 4, I really liked it because it gave you like this huge metropolis feel, because you just not only had one city, but many, and you can buy and sell power and jobs and all that stuff. And this time you were in control of those neighboring cities. But of course, it was pretty limited, right? You couldn't have a city tile like 2 cities away from the one you were controlling influence the one you were doing. Like you couldn't have Sims from your city commute to a job that was 2 cities away. It was only the next direct region. So that's something that 2013 is going to definitely change. Now we're coming into, of course, the third-party content, the NAM, and all those other additions. That definitely makes SimCity 4 my favorite in the series. Once you add all that extra stuff to it, because standalone SimCity 4, I mean, it was great, but you know, they're just, it didn't have the feel of the other games, and it was definitely a little bit more difficult. But that was really, you know, you could really just put a line through that once you downloaded some third-party content that just let you be your own creative mind, and not, you know, based on graphs and tag systems and stuff. So that's just my background. Of course, I've been active in the SimCity 4 community since about 2005. So about 2 years after SimCity 4 came out, I kind of said to myself, you know what, let's see, you know, what the internet has. And I remember looking at some of the old NAM forums on Centropolis. They were modifying the Maxis highway, building new interchanges for it, like the stack interchange. That, you know, basically that convinced me to join and become a member and stuff. So pretty active in sites like Centropolis, SimCity 4 Devotion, and stuff in the community, and more recently on Reddit and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. But now we're getting to the big question: is what do I think of SimCity 2013? I'm gonna start off basically by talking about my first impressions of it when I saw it come out. Like, I was extremely excited, you know, during the reveal trailer to see like some of the old buildings from SimCity 4 modernized, and just a huge graphic look, that big Tyrannosaurus Rex and stuff, terrorizing the monster car. Was it monster trucks in the stadium? Anyways, it looked absolutely awesome. And then as the development and stuff came later on, a little disappointed, of course, that, you know, they started saying things like, oh, terraforming's not going to be in the game. Oh, you know, we're not going to do subways anymore. One thing I was happy, though, is when they got rid of water, because it makes sense just to have, you know, the water pipes run underneath your cities. And, of course, I'm very disappointed, you know, with the tile size and always online stuff. But, you know, I am willing to accept a few things, seeing that it's been 10 years since SimCity 4 came out, and I'm so used to, you know, playing it with third-party editions. So, you know, I decided to give it a chance, and I remained optimistic, cautiously optimistic during the game's development, and kind of saw some things I liked and hated, and talked with Maxis developers and stuff about some of the things in the game that, you know, I didn't like or could use some work and stuff, and they actually listened to me, so it was kind of cool. And then closed betas came out, and I was able to get into the first closed beta. And it was basically my first, you know, of course it was everybody's first play of SimCity 2013, and I, despite, you know, what everybody said, and, you know, my relative negativity towards the game, being, you know, very, very cautious about it, I kind of felt that it did feel like a SimCity game. Like, I wasn't playing City Life or anything other thing. Like, you still had those zones, the RCI and everything, so it really felt, you know, part of the franchise, despite all those other issues. And of course, you couldn't really make a huge impression from the game, because you're only allowed to play for an hour with limited content. But overall, I was quite happy with it. You know, knowing that there were still a lot of bugs that will hopefully be fixed by release. And then I was able to get into the development beta during the month of February, and it was a real privilege for me to get into that, because there were only like a handful of people in the entire world that were able to get in, and I was very privileged to have that opportunity. And when I was playing that, I kind of had my first experience at region play, and of course all the content in the game was unlocked, and there was no time limit or anything, so I could basically build and do whatever I want. And of course I reported a lot of bugs and shared what was on my mind to Maxis, and they listened to a lot of stuff that I say. I remember talking with Ocean Quigley, and he didn't know that I was on the NAM team for SimCity 4, and so once I kind of told him that, he basically told the rest of the team to kind of weigh my suggestions, especially on transportation, like a little bit more heavily than they would otherwise. And you can kind of see that, like the some of the intersection glitches and graphics and stuff like that was changed since like the first beta to have it a little bit more fluent in the later betas and final game. And I should probably go back a little bit. During the game's development, before the betas, I kind of criticized them on the lack of highways and stuff. And originally, that city connection with the highway, that was just an intersection, and I kind of hit them really hard and kept pestering them, and they were finally able to make that little interchange at the side. Of course, it still looks like crap, but at least it's there. It's kind of a step in the right direction, but of course, I wish it was better, and the lack of highways and stuff is another thing that of course I don't like. You should at least have the option to have like the highway run through your city, even if you can't expand it or whatever. Just have it like run through, say, the middle of your city or on the side, so you can create like a few junctions, or have a theme kind of close to highway development, like frontage roads, or have commercial along the side, like a lot of stores or by the exits and stuff. But can't do any of that at all. So now we're coming in after the development beta into the release of the game on March the 5th, and I have to say, after downloading the game and everything, of course the server issues were a huge problem, and people will say, oh, don't worry about it, they'll get it fixed, they didn't expect this, they're working on it. But no, this is a game that's been, I know it's been hyped up, but it's a game that a lot of us have looked forward to. It is a game that is part of a well-respected franchise, and just about anybody, can't really say too many negative things about SimCity. We pretty much all like it. It doesn't have like those, violence issues that like shooters have or anything. Like, it's a game that just about everybody likes. And when you have something that kind of sours it, there's going to be some disappointment, of course. And the servers were just the first first thing. Always online, DRM, of course. Most people do not support, including myself. Especially if you just want to create a region for yourself. There should be no reason why you should be online all the time. It just does not make sense. Multiplayer and stuff, and showing your cities to people, that's very nice. I mean, multiplayer is something, of course, we've asked for, but it shouldn't be the primary focus of the game. The primary focus is building a city yourself, right? Being the mayor of your own town. Sharing it and having other players in your region and training resources and doing all that stuff, that's secondary, even optional. Like, that shouldn't be a requirement that you have to, use or utilize to fully get the full enjoyment of the game. And of course, the small tile size is just absolutely ludicrous in my opinion, and I kind of really miss the graphs and stuff as well. Like, everything is in glass box. I mean, you can see what the city shows you, but there's no way to compile that data into like a graph or into a pie chart or something just to show you what there is. I mean, the only example that we have is kind of a tax system which shows the balance sheet, but that's similar to older games. And of course, once we get past all the issues with the server, I was also disappointed just to see how buggy the game is on release. That to me is, I know they have deadlines and stuff, but that's very unacceptable. You can't have a game that's half done and release it to the masses. I mean, imagine if Super Mario Brothers was full of glitches like this, and they had no way to patch it, and having a way to patch it is no excuse. You need to have a game done and tested and everything, and as someone who took part in the development of the game, that angers me very much, because I spent time and effort, and it was really looking forward to seeing the final result and the final product of what we had, and what we got was something that still wasn't done. And I've definitely criticized the game in some of my streams and other reviews of it, and some people don't really like, seeing someone just keep nagging and nagging the whole time, and I completely understand that, but I do really like to, constructively criticize a game based on what it needs to live up to. Like, it's just unacceptable to have something like this that could ultimately ruin the franchise. Like, this release has come down as one of the worst launches of a game ever. And this is SimCity. This isn't, a massively multiplayer MMORPG thing. This isn't, something that needs to be connected to the internet. This is something that, is well respected. It has a huge legacy, huge following, and it's just, I'm at a loss for words of why it is what it is right now. And I know they're trying to do things like, oh, we're fixing up the servers and stuff, but overall I am disappointed, and I'm hoping that things will be fixed sooner than later. But that's still no excuse. The game should have been done, or pushed back, or something, because quality first, right? Quality over quantity, and there's still a lot of bugs, and you can see that in my rants, or not really rants, but other videos when I constructively criticize things that I see in the game that really need to be fixed. Like when you first start off a city, what's the first thing you see, right? You see grass in the middle of the road that by your connection to the highway. Like, that's a relatively minor thing, but it's the first thing you see every time, and it's not fixed. And that's been there since the first closed beta. To be honest, the most fun I've had so far playing the game was during the third closed beta, because that was 4 hours of a perfectly full server, and a lot of the bugs from the development beta were fixed. And I mean, I know I was in a bit of a rush to build a big city, but I did have a lot of fun, and a lot of people seemed to enjoy what I was doing, and it was good. But now it's almost even worse, and that doesn't make much sense. So I just wanted to end the video before I go off on a big rant, because this is probably a lot longer than what I think it is. My rating out of 10 for the game has changed throughout the development cycle, and overall I think I need to give it a 5 out of 10, unfortunately. Kind of going with some of the other reviewing sites that have changed their reviews from time to time, but I think I would have given it a 6 or maybe even a 7 if they had no problems with the online connection. If it's always online and it worked, I could live with that to a certain extent. Of course, I would still be disappointed. If they made it single player, that rating would have went up. And if they fixed a lot of issues in the game that I've been reporting since the first closed beta, that would have made my rating go up as well. But because the game is buggy, and because you can't play it, when you want to, most of the time, that really hurts the rating. So I would probably give it maybe a 5.5 based on, it with the bugs, that the server was stable, and a 4.5 with the, huge delay in getting in the game. So I kind of balanced it at a 5, because there's kind of a bit of both, and I know they're working hard to get it fixed, but that's still unacceptable. That doesn't give it, flying colors or even anything close to it. It gets just a scrape of a pass in my mind. And the older games, like I would rate SimCity 3000 as a perfect 10 out of 10, and SimCity 4 9 out of 10. 3000 probably a 9 out of 10. Not 3000, I'm sorry, 2000. And of course the original probably gets a solid 9 as well, because of just how original and progressive that was back in the day, having a game with no end. And if these server problems continue, like in the next week or next month, or if it's a huge problem, that rating or lasting impression on us is really gonna fade. And of course, if you're not able to play the game at all, you should give that a 0 out of 10, because it's not even worthy of 1 star if you can't play it. You paid $60 or more, depending on where you live and what package you got, on a game that's unplayable. And always online hurts if you can't play it due to an internet problem or internet caps or things that we're living with, and they don't really respect that. But you know, it is what it is. And I wish I could rate the game higher. I wish I was more optimistic, but I've just got to give it a 5 and live with that. And just hope, like everyone else, that they just fix the issues both with the server and with the game, and that we get things like bigger tile size and other components that were very heavily requested, like even basic things like a windowed full screen mode and other gameplay mechanics, you know, come sooner than later, because it's just, it's unacceptable. And I think I'm being nice by just giving them a bare acceptance. So anyways, I just want to end this now. You can share your thoughts in the comments below, and I can give another video if you want of, you know, my experience playing the other games in SimCity 4 and stuff. But that's what I think of the game. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this review and my thoughts about the game. And have a good day. I'll probably be on streaming SimCity 13 and SimCity 4 on Twitch, and have more videos up on YouTube over the next little bit. So if you enjoy my stuff, thanks a lot. I appreciate the support, and I'll keep pumping out stuff for you because I know you enjoy it. Take care, guys. Bye.